She's still laughing.
That's so funny. Welcome to 5 Lemons Left. We're the real stuff, the lemons making lemonade. So pucker up, because we're going to be discussing our life's lessons and the nitty-gritty details of our spiritual journeys.
Hey y'all, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Drusilla.
I'm Melissa.
Hello, this is Morgan.
And I'm Penny. Welcome to our podcast today.
Welcome back to another beautiful episode of Us 5 Lemons Laughing. Today, we're talking about navigating uncomfortable situations. Are you feeling triggered by someone or something? Has this political scene have you feeling angry or afraid? And that's what we're talking about today. About being at peace, about speaking our truth, and while being centered in love. And that's what changes the world, people.
Oh my gosh.
From a place of love.
Yep.
Yeah. And the lessons, if you're doing the Course in Miracles lessons, we're recording this the third week of January. I mean, all the lessons are about our thoughts and turning them to love. And so as I've been doing these lessons, I thought, okay, my heart is starting to soften and warm up to our new president of the United States. And I thought, I wasn't going to watch the inauguration. And then I thought, okay, he's a child of God too. He's just, he's in his ego, whatever. And so I decided I'm going to watch the inauguration because I thought I could handle it. It lasted for a little while, my loving thoughts and but it's really fascinating to watch how quickly I can slip out of the loving place that I want to be. Because even listening to his speech and then his after speech, and it was really hard to stay in my loving heart. I just have to tell you that. And so I know that even this last week during the lessons, I realized that even though I feel like I've come a long way, I still have some way to go. And so then I started scrolling through all the news articles to see what the New York Times was saying about everything and what CNN was saying. Oh my God, I couldn't shut it off. My ego wanted to know as much as I can. So in case somebody should ask, I can tell them what is wrong with everything they're thinking. Oh my God, that's really what I was thinking. So that's where I'm at this day. One day into our new presidency. I am not so sure I'm going to stay in my loving heart. I need some help.
Well, here is like the $1 million question. How, can you stay in your loving heart? What does our loving heart have to do with what we're seeing on the world? Is there a difference? Can you still love him and see through that, or love whatever situation you're in? And can you still do that and have a differing opinion, right?
I'm just going to, Pam Grout has the Course in Miracles experiment. And in one of the early lessons this last week, she talked about this store owner who was shot by his person and he forgave him. And he even went and visited him in jail and all this stuff. And I thought, wow, that's really amazing that guy could do that. I want to be like him, right? And then in lesson 20, I think she revealed some more information that this guy who had shot the store owner, that then the store owner forgave him, he had been bullied, he'd been abused, he'd been sexually abused, all these things. And so I know the backstory around Trump is that he had been bullied. He had been, there is some of that stuff in his story as well. And so if I can stay there and just see him as like a little 5-year-old, but he is in charge of the little nuclear bombs and all that stuff. And so but I know that if I know we're all one mind. And so the quicker I can keep my mind in loving thoughts, the better our world will be, especially my little part of the world that I'm part of. Oh, it's so challenging. I need help. How are you all managing it?
Well, I haven't watched anything Trump related or any news. Hardly watched any during the election process either. So I did a little bit of what you did, Penny. I turned on the television to CNN last night, just in time to see him doing a press conference and signing whatever pardons and all the other things that he was doing. And I had almost two separate thought patterns going on. I had the one that when I looked at him, I saw him, I wasn't as triggered as I had been in the past just by the mere sight of him. But there was a part of me that thought everything he was doing was wrong and bad. I pardoning all those people that, I felt should not have been pardoned. But it wasn't heavy. I only watched for about 10 to 12 minutes and then I turned it off and I didn't think about it anymore. And I just reminded myself that that was why I don't watch it. And so I'll just go back to not watching it because it's not going to change anything for me to get upset. I know that what he's doing, it will have some impact somewhere, but I'm just trusting that everything is working out in our favor and for our good. And that's just where I'm going to have to leave it. Because like you, I'm apparently not ready to trust that he is, his actions are just as worthy of him being able to make those decisions as ours are, right? And just as meaningful to him. And so until I'm ready to know and trust that, then I should probably just not watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't watched anything since like the election or very little, very teeny tiny bit. And then I don't know, my heart just softened. And I thought I would test it out again.
What about if we just reach for neutrality? Like I figure I don't have to trust him. I just don't have to let the situation ruin my peace. And so let's just say it's an either or, right? But there is a middle, which is a neutral place. I don't have to really completely, I don't have to like everything he does. I don't have to trust him. Maybe, I'm not sure. So I have to think about this, but because we are one, I would like to love him. But I think I can love him and still be neutral about his behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I am angry and hateful, and I really try even not to watch, like I'm the same as you guys. I stay off the news. Now I'm staying off social media. If I get on, I also don't like watching even people who vote like me, who are really mean about him, like say mean things. I can't watch that either. So I think I'm coming into more neutrality about it. Yeah, that might be my answer today.
I like it.
Because what can I accept, right? So another peace of mind thing, what can I accept? That's my answer to everything today, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, this is 12-step recovery, like on steroids.
Oh, yeah. It's like Al-Anon, like we have this person we want to fix and is ruining our life and be the best. Exactly, Penny.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start Al-Anon, political Al-Anon.
Yeah.
Paulanon.
I like that.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, I don't watch the news either, but I have been feeling called in the months leading to us moving back to the United States and then us being back here in the United States. I have been feeling called to be more active in the political arena just by doing my part and becoming educated, because I had to withdraw for a while for my own peace of mind and my own sanity. And I think Costa Rica was sort of that like retreat and grounding, and helped me to fortify myself to be able to come back into this and be able to be aware and educated about what's going on without getting sucked into the fear of it. Because what is happening right now in our country, if it were happening 4 years ago, I would very much be in fear and a lot of anger, because we have the signs of a fascist government right now. Like that is what's happening. And like all of the historians who study fascist governments and the rise of Hitler and all of that, like it is like clockwork what is happening, and the suppression of media and it's all, that is what we're living through. And instead of it terrifying me, now I feel like I feel called to, like, I'm a light worker and I'm planted here to be the light in the middle of this time and to be a voice for that. I mean, Jesus didn't just turn a blind eye to all the political bullshit that was going on. He confronted it and he faced it head on. And so it is a constant practice to make sure my level of engagement is grounded in love and not fear. And I have to be super intentional about when I'm consuming any sort of media and when I'm sharing any sort of media, like what my energetic around that is. But I don't get anything off mainstream media. And the amount of engagement I had around, the past few days with the inauguration taking place, really, I was only following the TikTok stuff, which was interesting around the TikTok ban and just seeing how all of that played out. And it's been fun kind of to be in a position to educate others about like what is happening. And I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to say, but it left. So it'll circle back if it's meant to be shared. So I'm going to stop there for now.
To me, I can see what is going on in the political scene, like on a super deeper level. There's a lot of distrust, not just now, but there is a lot of distrust in big government, right? That has been going on for a long, long time. There is a nation that's in debt. There's a lot of personal debt. There's a lot of overconsumption. There's just a lot of stuff happening I can see it in my own personal life, and I can also see it on the global stage. I can see it reflected in TV. Like for someone that's just tuning in, I really like, violent TV. That's just what I like, drama, violent TV. And I can see it happening in the world now. And as we are becoming more aware, as I am becoming more aware of like what's going on in my mind, like part of me is really excited like about what we're going through right now. Because like in one of my drama movies, it's like somebody dropping a bomb. And all of our beliefs, all of our structures, all of our thoughts, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, it's all coming up, right? We're all having to look at our minds like, what am I? What am I talking about? Like, how am I feeding into this overconsumption mentality? How am I feeding into the drama of hate and fear? And like really dialing it back to a personal level. And Morgan, I just love when you say you're taking action now, like, I don't even care which side of the aisle you're taking action for. The fact that you say you're checking, you're not sending out stuff based of fear. You're like checking yourself to make sure it's rooted in love first. That to me is how you change the world. That's what I like the most about of what's going on.
Love that observation, Amanda. I do. And when I was saying that, I had to, or the way I looked at it was trust. It wasn't trust in him as a person, trusting that the universe is delivering exactly what it needs to deliver.
Right.
That's the trust I mean. And I think it's the same as what you're saying. I do feel that it's leading us somewhere. And only him being in office is going to get us there, because I felt it like, before our previous president, I said to myself before he was elected, oh, if we could just have somebody to bring us back to civilization so we can just be, and not have to worry about watching the news every day to see what this person that I called a lunatic back then was going to do. And then I felt that when Trump was reelected, it was because we didn't move in the way that we should have when things were a little more peaceful, a little quieter. Had Morgan and all the rest of us decided we were going to take action, then would he have been reelected? Maybe not. But we all sat silent and we all sat still and did nothing. And then he got reelected again. So I agree 100%, Amanda. It's time to take action and a time to reflect, and everything that needs to come to surface is going to come to surface. And that's what I feel the intention behind the election and what's going on in the government and in the world is designed to do.
So herein lies the rub, people. So how do you, what are the actual things that you do to come back to your love and heart? So Morgan, I am going to kick it back to you before you have a conversation or tweet. What do you do? Because this doesn't just apply to politics. This is like, I have to have an uncomfortable conversation with my boss. I'm going out to eat with people I don't like, right? So it's not just world politics. This is everyday stuff, applying it in different ways.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the ways that I'm taking action is in sharing information that I feel like is suppressed, just to make people aware. And what I think for myself is, if I feel that strong impulse to share it, that's spirit guiding me. And then if formerly the fear thoughts would have rushed in, you can't share that, then people will know how you feel and they'll start, trolling you and sending you ugly comments. And fear would have stopped me from sharing it a lot of the time. So now if I get the impulse to share it, I share it, and then I'll reflect on it. How does it feel? And if it feels like, maybe that is just inciting fear, then I will take it down. If I have a second moment of clarity that feels like it's rooted in fear, then I will take it down. But generally speaking, if I get that impulse to share it, it is like it's a guidance. And the other ways I'm taking action is I'm trying to be conscious with my spending, and with, like on TikTok, when that whole ban was going through, like millions of people banded together and exited stage right from the Meta platforms like Instagram and Facebook. And I had like 5 different accounts on Instagram. I closed all of them except for my business one. And the Meta stock dropped like 16% in one day. So it just showed the government like what happens when people band together. And that's why the government was afraid of TikTok. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, instead of talking about the different actions we can do to affect change in the political climate, I'm actually doing them. And it is going to take grassroots efforts to, impact a change. But also it's going to take spiritual practice and just, anchoring into the heart and into love. So you can do both. You can do tangible physical acts in your day-to-day life that make a difference. You can stop shopping at Starbucks, Walmart, Target, all the big box stores, these kinds of things. But you can also just stay rooted in your spiritual practice and in your spiritual community and prayer and blessing people and blessing the country. You can do both. You can do one or the other wherever you are at in your spiritual life. Like whatever contribution you can make is helpful. It's all helpful.
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback on that too, Morgan, because I think taking care of myself and doing my self-cares are really important, because when I'm called, I need to be ready. I need to be physically and emotionally, spiritually ready for whatever I'm going to be called to do. And a lot of times I have, not taken care of myself so good. And so, yeah, I want to be, when I'm called, I want to be ready.
Yes.
So doing my morning prayer and meditation, pranayama, reading, my writing, dealing with my whatever's, whatever upsets I have, dealing with them versus stuffing them down. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do right now. It's really up my self-cares.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's also important to go back and say that it's important to not try to change people's mind about things. Like I'm just sharing information, but I'm not I don't have any delusions of grandeur that I'm changing thousands of minds by sharing this information. Like I'm just being a conduit and people can do with it what they will. And I'm not married to getting people to see things my way or, I think that's another thing that's important to keep in mind. What about you, Amanda? Anything you'd like to share?
I was thinking about my intuition. So the best thing that I can do is, like Penny said, to be ready, is to make sure that I am clear, that I know what my intuition sounds like, feels like, looks like, does like, that I am, I think that's the main thing I can do. And the way that I am doing that is really looking at my thoughts. So we're doing the Liminettes are journaling together and doing the workbook lessons. And one of them was, I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of how I see blank. And it just came to what am I thinking? What am I doing? I know I've said this before, but it's just that's my tool, right? Is really clarifying my thoughts. Really, can I see whoever as a loving being? Can I see the source that is, that connection of source energy, and love them that way? And it's not ignore is not the right thing. It's not that I'm ignoring behaviors or ignoring personalities, but starting with this person is a child of God and I am a child of God. Melissa, I know you don't like those words, but that's the essence of it. We are all
You're the child of the universe, Amanda.
Yeah.
Child of the universe. Yeah.
So
a ray of the sun.
A ray of the sun.
I wanted to go back to what you were saying about learning to recognize your guidance and just let our listeners know that a couple of episodes ago, Amanda and Penny led us through a guided meditation practice to learn to recognize that guidance. So that was called Inspired Beginnings, I think was the name of that episode for any of our listeners who would like to check that out.
Yeah. I mean, because for me, that's what it is all about, tapping into that intuition. Because how do you know? Like Morgan, how do you know what to post or what to share? It's because your intuition is telling you that. So then you got to look at, is your intuition based in ego thinking, like, and how to recognize that? That's like one of the best things for me, just navigating life with peace.
Well, and Pam Grout has a great book called E Squared. Is that what it is? I think it's E Squared, where she has you do many experiments with your trusting your intuition. And so if you want to dig into that a little deeper, that's a great book to practice.
I think that one of the ways you can kind of get closer to peace through all this is just watching your reactions. That's what, like, I feel kind of what Amanda was saying, not that I'm ignoring what's happening. I definitely do try not to dig into a lot of fear-based information. Mm-hmm. So I don't, well, for one thing, so I don't get suckered into it, but then also so that my feeds and all that doesn't make an algorithm that just keeps sending me that bullshit, right? So I try to stop that, but I try not to react to everything I see. Like there's so much stuff put out about like just crazy stuff. I'm like the outfit the Melania wore to the funeral of Jimmy Carter. Like, I didn't pay attention to why that was so bad, but a lot of people said her outfit was disrespectful and terrible. I just try not to like dive in, not have a reaction, not have an opinion even on stuff like that. Because I feel like that just leads my mind away from truth, from peace, and acceptance that this is just how it is right now. And then part of the not responding or reacting would help me change. It helps me change my mind about what I'm seeing. So I don't have to go down rabbit holes of, again, hate and resentment and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of the redirect and the non-knee jerk to whatever I'm seeing in front of me that helps me.
Melissa, I'm giving you a clapping for that, right?
It goes right back to what you said at the beginning.
Yeah.
Neutrality. Reach for neutrality. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because isn't that true? What like is in our mind? Like if you are like having disrespectful thoughts, you're going to look in the world and you're going to see disrespectful things. You're going to like, what's the meaning you're making of that? And the fact that you just didn't tune it, you tuned it. You just like, we're like, no, I'm just turning that radio station off.
Yeah. And you're creating your own algorithm.
Yeah.
Really? Like exactly what you just said. You just start going down that rabbit hole and then you look for other proof of all this hatred and this is not working and all. And you can find it wherever you look, if that's what
the algorithm works in our life too, just like it does in social media.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I would have to say, I agree with the way Melissa described it. It's pretty much mind work, being mindful. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what Course is teaching us in the workbook lessons is to clear out those thoughts that do not bring value to your life, you know? And the way I kind of gauge that for myself is, you know, if I don't bring the clutter, like it's an easy choice not to watch the news and not to be on social media. Like I'm not on there either. So I'm very limited in the way that negativity or garbage gets into my mind. So I'm even defending that part of it. So that mostly what I'm dealing with is my own internal stuff that's coming up, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I do work with people and I interact with those people, but we don't talk about a lot of social things. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about all of that stuff. So I am really trying to limit where those things can even come from so that I'm really just dealing with my own internal stuff. And so that's really helpful for me to not to even. Now, Amanda, I will have to say, I do love my crime shows, my, you know, and a very long time ago when most of us can remember when rap music became really popular. And it was this big uproar about it's just garbage in our minds and all of that. So, you know, we all continued to listen to it and we kind of put a buffer there. We know, you know, it is what it is, right? So that's the category I put investigation discovery in.
The rap category.
But, okay, I'm not going to make myself feel guilty for that. But, you know, I do know that it is still can be garbage, right? But yeah, I just try to do some preventive things as well.
I love what you're saying too, Drusilla, because like, I think like in this moment, I'm being called to some level of political activism. I'm not saying that I'm, whatever, but I think it's totally possible and commendable if someone wanted to just go completely off grid, no news, no TV, no awareness whatsoever of what's going on in town, much less in the world or in the US. Like, if an opportunity to be helpful and to be loving came their way and they were doing their spiritual practice and not aware, like, that's all that we're called to do is the next loving choice in each moment. So you can do that whether you have an awareness of what's going on in the world politically or not. You just do the next right thing that is in front of you that you are being guided to do, the next loving choice. You just make the next loving choice and the next loving choice. So, even if, the worst case scenario that we could imagine occurs within our country, as long as boots on the ground, day to day, when we encounter people, we're making the next loving choice. That's all that we're called to do in any given moment.
Yes.
That's beautiful,
I love
Morgan.
that, Morgan.
Thank you for the reminder.
That is beautiful. I'm still stuck on this real life algorithm that we're creating. I think that is such amazing, an amazing analogy. Melissa just hit the nail on the head with that. Yeah. What algorithm? Like, if you just look at the world around you, not necessarily the TV world, right? Your world, where you turn off everything. If you look at that world, that's your mind algorithm.
Yeah. What are you swiping right on?
Wow.
Or whatever.
Social media. I will snooze someone for 30 days, like in a heartbeat. Snooze.
Yes.
Like that. I just love that button.
So going back, I think that you can watch your thoughts, you can watch your responses, you can watch your personal algorithm, like where you're putting your thoughts, because we know then that creates more. You're then looking for proof of those thoughts. And we don't have to live out of fear, right? So if we choose love, if we choose the next right loving thought, the next right loving action, that might be being an activist, that might be praying, that might be whatever you do out of love. But those are, I think, the ways to start bringing it down, bringing all the fear down, bringing the hatred down, bringing back the peace into your life, bringing back the love. I also think gratitude, we haven't talked about that, but gratitude is a really great reframing tool, a really great way to, just count your blessings and to reframe and to stop that reaction and the algorithm. direction.
Lots to ponder today. Lots to ponder.
So, Morgan, if you were going to invite our audience to practice something this week, what would it be?
That's a great question. Maybe just to tune in, check in before logging social media and see if that is the most loving choice in that moment. And if they get the green light from their guidance, then just to bless that time on social media and invite spirit to direct the algorithm.
I love that. Anything else?
I know everyone's probably going to go, oh, but I really do think acceptance of yourself is a really good thing. Like just accepting that you're not perfect, that you might think some things, you might say some things. But I think that also cultivates awareness, like watching yourself and making other choices. And like for me, I got in a discussion once with this man who was talking like, why don't you talk about politics? Why don't you do this and that in politics? And I said, I'm so not interested in it. Like I'm an art history major. I love talking about art. I love talking about different cultures, that kind of thing. Like we all have different interests. We all have different things. That's our thing. Politics just hasn't ever really been my thing. And so that also is just an acceptance, like kind of like, where I come from.
Wow. I'm giving you another round of applause today. I mean, wow. Yeah. Not being pressured into being somebody that you're not by someone that was trying to bait you into doing something. That's a big deal.
Well, and then if people bring fear to it, like then I think it's going to be okay no matter what, that I don't enlist in this because of fear and someone else.
I have that deep down feeling too, that we're all going to be okay. Just looking for 4 years to go quickly.
What's a practice you would share, Amanda, or a tool? Or I don't remember what you asked.
I would, like I said before, I would invite people to be aware of what algorithm they have created in their real life, right? Mm-hmm. That has got to be the biggest teller of what is in your mind, right? Mm-hmm. What we're learning. Like if you look around and you see your everyday life, what is in your mind? And then acceptance is the first step to, okay. You might look around your life and go, I love my life. I got this nailed down. I mean, like, yay, good for you. Or you might look around your life and go, what am I attracting? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would invite people to do a neutral inventory of what their life looks like.
Nice.
Wow. So much good information today. Mm-hmm. We've got some tools, we've got some insights. Yeah. Is there any final thoughts that anybody would like to share before we wrap this up?
I would just add that I think it's all the same, but if I had to wrap it up and put a bow on it, I would say mindfulness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That was one of my Post-its. Yeah, this time requires us to be mindful. What's in our mind and clear out the negative, and then really pay attention to what's your algorithm. I think I spelled that word right.
It's good to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the other Post-its that I loved what you said, Melissa, it's about being in neutrality and acceptance. And And then Morgan, you said be the light. That's really, we're all light workers. So let's keep our light shining bright. And then trust that the universe is guiding and directing us exactly where we're supposed to be going. And that's really the trust and faith. I mean, I think that's one of my biggest things that I've learned on this spiritual journey is that having trust and faith is really important no matter what's going on, trusting that the universe is leading us and guiding us exactly where we need to be. Mm-hmm. So that is our podcast today. We really appreciate all of you tuning in, and we just love you all. And more will be revealed about what's going on in our world, and if we can stay in our loving heart. And that was the other one that I said. The key is really to make the next loving choice. That's all that really matters, is just keep making the next loving choice. So let's make, the next loving choice. No matter what's happening, let's choose love. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. That's our mantra after today's podcast. So thanks for tuning in. You all have a really beautiful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.